Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. Today we have a bonus video with some really big news. That's right, it is new patch time for the Battlegrounds. We have a brand new patch cycle coming up tomorrow, in fact, and Blizzard has been so kind to give me an opportunity to share some of the major changes with you guys directly. So one of the things they sent me is a new hero, which is N'Zoth. That's right. It's a bit of text there. Don't worry. We'll go over everything here. So N'Zoth's a new hero. You know, it's Darkmoon fair and all. Start of the game, you get a 1/1, and it's a fish, which is a beast, by the way, and it gains all your death rattles in combat. How does that work? Well, you don't have to wonder, because we got clips for that. This is how it works here, right here. So that's the hero power. And the little fishy is there all the way to the right. So after a friendly death rattle minion dies, you gain its death rattle. And it's a beast. So being a beast is pretty important because, well, you can actually buff it throughout the game. It's not quite like an amalgam like Curator's starting card. It can't get every buff, but getting some of the beast buffs and some of the synergy at the start with the beast comps might actually prove to be pretty useful because you have the death rattle stuff and the beast synergy perhaps. So together it might seem pretty good, and we get to see kind of how this works here. So naturally you're going to want to play death rattle minions because it gets death rattle effects. And it gets these death rattle effects in combat, and we're about to see the fruit of that here right now. So these are all the cards that died before it during this combat. Those are the death rattles that it gets. And seemingly, well, that's pretty good. Turn the tide quite. And wait, why does N'Zoth have a secret? Oh, that's kind of interesting. Wait, what's that? Oh boy, that's right. Part 2 of the reveal today, Darkmoon Prizes. So, you know, let's just take a step back real quick. So people keep theorycrafting that, you know, the guys over that designed the game, the devs, that they're going to make the next tribe and it's going to be part of what we have in the rest of the game, and the only tribe that's left is totems. So, oh my god, we're going to get a totem expansion in Battlegrounds, right guys? No, it seems like Blizzard has actually gone a bit out of the box on this one. Some of us have pushed for this in the past, but oh boy, this is to quite some degree. We are getting, get ready, Darkmoon Prizes are spells. We're getting spells in the Battlegrounds. That's right. Now, these spells have a very specific way that they're used. They are limited time. I don't know how limited. Maybe a long time, maybe a short time. I don't know how limited personally, but that might be part of the patch notes that will be up a little bit later today. If not, we'll see in time. But the way they will work as of tomorrow, every 4 turns, in fact, there is a prize turn. So on the prize turns, this is going to be turn 4, turn 8, turn 12, and turn 16. Okay. You're going to get a chance to discover one of these spells that you can use, and some of them are really cool. Some of them are like something that you do this turn. Some of them are, you know, things that just permanently attach to your minions. And this is really important. So how does this work in terms of the actual gameplay? Well, honestly, we'll have to find out. With changes this substantial, I can only guess. But what we do know is generally what happens on turn 4. So on turn 4, it's usually it's a 7 gold turn. It's usually when most heroes level from Tavern 2 to Tavern 3 for 4 gold and buy 1 card, 1 minion, right? So in that stage, it's kind of the defining mid-game push. So if you have good minions, you can maybe use Might of Storm and give your minions +1/+1, get 2 coins. That could be pretty good. Buffing 1 card if you have maybe a Divine Shield card, or maybe if you're playing with something you'll know you'll have for a while, like a Murloc, or maybe you are playing Curator or N'Zoth for that matter. Discover a minion from Tavern 1. Not sure about that one being quite as powerful as some of the others, but who knows, right? Like you might need a triple. You might have many doubles from Tavern 1 minions. Your next refreshes cost 0. You're desperately trying to maybe force a build. Give minions and Bob's shop +1 health for the rest of the game. Wow, that could be pretty nice. Add a minion to Bob's Tavern for the rest of the game. Very, very cool. That's a huge impact if you're going to do like a low tavern tier strategy. So these are hugely impactful. Again, these will happen on turn 4 in the game. Now the next one is going to happen on turn 8. These are the prize turn 2 options. These are turn 8 discover options in the new system. Now, what happens on turn 8? Usually, if you're playing really high MMR, it's typically the turn that like maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 0 unlucky people get knocked out. So it's typically when builds start to go like full force. They start to get off the ground. They start scaling. You start to define what you're actually going to be doing that game. So these are kind of in line with that. Your Battlecry triggers twice this turn. So, if you're playing a Battlecry heavy build, maybe you're playing Murlocs, you don't have Bran, well, you can get Bran's Blessing, for example. On the house, discover minion from your current tavern tier. You can just do a huge tavern up, just like push for the sky, tavern 5, tavern 6 push, and then drop this guy. So there's some really big ones. At the end of your turn, gain +2/+2 for a minion. You can start getting scaling on. Some of the key cards in the game are actually really difficult to scale, so this can really help with that. They're there. +5/+5 and taunt. Discover minion from your opponent's last warband. So discover, it's not quite a Murazond effect, can be very good. Usually on turn 8, people don't necessarily have 7 minions in their warband, so that can be pretty substantial as well. Great deal for the rest of the game. Reduce the cost of upgrading Bob's Tavern by 2 at the end of your turn. So it basically gives you a discount by 2 instead of by 1. This is a pretty big catch-up mechanic if you're playing one of those lines where you took a lot of damage in the first 2 turns, so you can't tavern up quite to where you want to be. This will help you get there. So huge stuff. The fact that you get to discover one of these should put you in a position where you can overcome your weakness. A lot of the time what we see is people get knocked out before they can get a build or a strategy together. It seems like the Darkmoon Prizes are really going to close the gaps in what people are missing without seemingly, again, we'll have to see tomorrow and the days and the weeks after, but seemingly these are not to like win more type of cards. So the people who have already gotten lucky in that game, I think have most of their gaps filled in already, while these fill in the gaps, at least on this turn, is turn 8 for those that haven't quite gotten there yet. Now, turn 12, let's see. Turn 12, these are starting to be really substantial. Some of the really fast games right now are over by turn 12 or turn 13. So, not a lot of players are going to get these if the pace of the game continues. But if the Darkmoon Prizes that we've seen so far successfully fill in the gaps of the players that are typically knocked out, we could actually expect longer games in Battlegrounds. So it could be that most players actually see the 3rd round of prizes, which is again on turn 12. Give a minion Divine Shield. So this is like, oh wow, I got this card, it's so good, I want to give it, a little bit more buffs. And Divine Shield, that's a unique way to add a buff. Rip George. Ice Block. We don't need to go over how strong this is. That's obviously crazy strong. Double a minion's attack. That can be really good for like a cleave effect, I would imagine. Fill your hand with bananas. I don't think that will be quite as strong as some of the others, but you never know. Like I said, some cards are really difficult to buff. Discover any hero power can be very strong for heroes that have like one-time use hero powers, for example, like Reno. There's a few other heroes that have a limited number of uses. There are also a lot of heroes actually that have very strong early game hero powers that level off really hard in the late game. And keep in mind, this is turn 12. This is the late game. Return a friendly non-golden minion to your hand, give it +2/+2. This is that situation where you might have a gigantic investment in like an Island Battlemaster and you just now got your Bran. Time to really scale that health. Make a random minion in Bob's Tavern golden, so you get a free triple effect off of that as well. And discover a minion from Tavern 6. And again, these are kind of like whole fillers. Even in the end game, you're going to see some people playing like Tavern 3 mechs. So getting a Tavern 6 minion, that can be a really big deal. Last ones. This is turn 16. This is usually, and by usually I mean almost always, a 1v1 situation. So in a 1v1 situation, what can you expect to get? For the rest of the game, minions in Bob's Tavern cost 1 less. Might be like, well, you're not really buying too many things from Bob's Tavern in the last few turns, are you? Well, actually, you are in some cases. For example, if you're playing like a Calicos Dragon build, usually the deciding factor, a win versus a loss, is going to be those stat breakpoints. If your dragons are like 1 stat point higher than your opponent, getting like a Nadina shield on them, your dragons need like 3 hits from your opponent's minion to die once a piece. So like getting the extra last bit of battle cry scaling, that can be huge. So, yeah, it's not an all-around super powerful card, but that's what these prizes are. They help certain builds much more than others, and it's on us to figure it out and play it accordingly. Next one, open bar. Your first 5 refreshes each turn cost 0. So it's kind of like 5 gold, but if both players are at high health or are playing strategies that don't hit too hard, you might expect a couple of turns value out of this one. Make a friendly minion golden and return it to your hand. Wow. Okay. Like the battle masters, the amalgadons, is just, oh my god, there's so many crazy options out of that one. Refresh your gold, that's very good. The Argent Braggart. So this is a card that people play in Constructed. They brought it to Battlegrounds. It's obviously absolutely crazy in Battlegrounds, but it's just stats. Usually in the 1v1 situation, you start seeing people push for Divine Shield type of builds, poisonous type of things. So just stats is really good, but it mostly is going to supplement your buff slot or buff build enabler. For example, if you're playing a Murloc build, your last card is often going to be Bran. If you're playing a Menagerie build, your last card's often going to be Lightfang. So you basically replace that with the Argent. And I think it'll be very good at that. Big winner, discover Darkmoon Prize from each of the previous prize turns. So you're looking at 3 others, but they're not going to be quite as strong as any of these. This might be substantial if you're looking for key strategies, or if perhaps you can't win, but you might win in a few turns. Maybe you're just looking for that one ice block, perhaps. And the last one, give a dog a bone. Give a friendly minion Divine Shield, Wind Fury, and +10/+10. It's cleave time. So let me tell you, Battlegrounds is going to be crazy starting tomorrow. So what can I say? Let's play it. Thanks for watching.